My family completely forgot about my baby shower and casually shrugged it off, saying they didn't think it was important. I forced a smile, left the group chat, and canceled all the payments I'd been covering for them. The next day, they acted surprised, asking, "It didn't invite anyone?" My voice quivered, though I was doing my best to keep it steady. My sister walked away, scoffing. "Ugh, you're so sensitive. We just didn't think it mattered." I stood in the kitchen, one hand resting on my growing belly, the other gripping my phone. My breath hitched between a laugh and a sob. 34 weeks pregnant, swollen feet, aching back, and I had spent the last month reminding them, over and over, twice, 3 times, each time being reassured with promises like, "We'll figure it out," or "Don't stress, we've got you." Apparently, they didn't. I'd sent out my registry. I made the invitation. "I even double-checked with you about the dates," I added, my voice dropping, quieter now, too calm. It was the kind of calm that comes only when you've crossed a line you didn't know existed. My mom spoke up from the background, trying to make it better. "Honey, baby showers are really more for the first child," she said. "This is my first child," I responded. There was silence, then my brother, Ethan, typed something in the family group chat. "TBH, not a huge deal. Just a baby shower," he added, as though it didn't matter, as if I hadn't been the one paying for his car insurance the last 2 years. As if I hadn't quietly helped mom with her mortgage every month so she wouldn't fall behind. As if I hadn't bought groceries for my sister when her fiancé took off and left her with nothing. As if I didn't matter. I stared at my phone screen, seeing the little red receipt icons under my last message. Then I did the only thing I could. I smiled, tapped the 3 dots next to the group chat name, and hit leave group. 2 minutes later, I was logging into my bank account, payment to @&T, cancel, auto transfer to mom's account, gone. I deleted the transfer for my sister's daughter's dance classes too. No announcements, no long goodbyes. No explanations, I just stopped. And the next morning, when the Wi-Fi went out at my sister's apartment, when mom's phone service suddenly dropped, and when Ethan got kicked out of Netflix mid-movie, they started to panic. I watched it all unfold in real time, sipping tea on my balcony, my baby gently kicking beneath my ribs. For the first time in years, I felt at peace. To understand how we got here, you need to know one thing. I had always been the responsible one, the dependable sibling, the one everyone counted on. I landed a job right after college, started saving up early, and bought my own apartment by 29. Meanwhile, Ethan was still crashing at friends' houses, working on launching his podcast empire, and Lauren, my older sister, married young, got divorced even younger, and never really figured out how to stand on her own again. Naturally, I became the support system, quietly, without anyone ever asking directly. Because that's how they get you. It started small. "Can you cover mom's gas bill this month?" Her pension check came late. "Lauren's behind on rent again, and she's too embarrassed to ask, 'Can you help?' Sophie doesn't have the right shoes for dance class, and you know how talented she is." Every time I said yes, not because I had so much, but because they had so little, or at least I thought they did. They started calling me an angel, a rock, the glue that held the family together, and I ate it up, foolishly. I thought that's what love was, but over time, the gratitude faded. It was replaced with expectation. Then, entitlement. Lauren stopped saying thank you. Instead, she'd just Venmo me requests for $85 with a note, Sophie's meds, or emergency groceries. And yet, I once saw her on Instagram that same day, posting pictures of her gel manicure and mimosas at brunch. Ethan didn't even bother to pretend anymore. He once texted me, "Yo, rent's due, can you handle it?" And I did. Meanwhile, mom started saying things like, "You're so blessed, sweetie. God gave you that job so you could help others." As if my success was assigned to bail out their failures. By the time I found out I was pregnant, I had already covered Lauren's rent for 11 months straight. Ethan's phone, gym, and Spotify bills, mom's utilities, Sophie's school fundraiser trips, costume fees, and even a $200 camp deposit. Total? I stopped counting after $18,000, but when I told them I was pregnant, they smiled, of course. "Wow, congrats." But something changed. It was like my wanting something for myself upset the balance of the family dynamic. I should have realized something was wrong when nobody offered to host the baby shower. "We're all so busy," Lauren said. "You'll probably just do something low-key, right?" Ethan didn't even respond. Mom suggested, "Why don't you just do a Facebook post instead of a whole party?" I tried to brush it off. I bought little pastel decorations myself. I made an Amazon registry, mostly full of affordable essentials. Diapers, bottles, a crib. I asked my friend Zoe if I could host it at her place, and she agreed. I sent the invite in the family group chat, not a single RSVP. Weeks passed. The date was coming closer. I followed up gently. Hey, just making sure you saw the invite? Lauren replied with an emoji. Ethan left me on read. Mom finally responded. We'll see. That weekend's a bit hectic, honey. That weekend? That weekend, they were all at Anna's baby shower, my cousin's third child. A full catered buffet, coordinated outfits, balloons bigger than her toddler. The whole family was there, and I wasn't invited. I saw the photos on Instagram. Mom stood next to Anna's cake table, smiling like everything was fine. Lauren was busy taking selfies. Ethan shared a reel of the DJ from the party, captioning it "Family over everything." That night, I didn't shed a single tear. I didn't even yell. I sat on the floor of my bedroom, my hand gently stroking my belly, and it hit me. They weren't just ignoring me, they were making a statement that my baby didn't matter, that I didn't matter, and yet they still expected me to be their bank. The day after the party, Lauren messaged asking for $180 for Sophie's school project. Then came Ethan's text, "Mom's phone's off again, can you take care of it?" And that was the turning point for me. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened the family chat and typed one line, "Thanks for making it clear where I stand." Then I left the chat and quietly began dismantling the financial support I'd been offering for years. What I didn't expect was just how loud the fallout would be. The next morning, Ethan was relentless. "Yo, what's going on? Wi-Fi's down, Netflix isn't working. Did you cancel Spotify too?" And then Lauren jumped in. "Why's the internet off? Sophie has a school Zoom in a few minutes, and she's freaking out. Fix it. And did you cancel the Target card?" I had a whole cart of groceries ready to check out. The messages kept pouring in. Then my mom called and left a voicemail, her voice dripping with that disappointed teacher tone. "Sweetheart, this is concerning. We're your family. You don't punish the people you love." I didn't respond. They didn't deserve an explanation. Let them sit with the silence. Let them feel the absence I used to fill. That evening, sitting on my couch, a warm cup of tea in hand, my baby kicking gently, I actually smiled. For once, it was them scrambling, not me, and me? I was finally free of their grip. 2 days after I left the family chat, my phone rang. "Mom, of course. We're coming over," she said, not, "Are you okay?" Just, "We need to talk." I could already hear the rehearsed speech in her voice. They weren't coming to talk. They were coming to trap me. And for the first time in my life, I was ready for it. At 6:04 p.m., they stormed in like a hurricane. My mom marched right in, avoiding eye contact. Lauren tossed her purse on the floor like it offended her. Ethan slouched in wearing his hoodie, trying to act casual, but I could see the tension beneath his cocky attitude. They didn't ask if I was okay. They didn't even offer to sit down. They just took over my living room like they still owned it. "Let's just get to the point," Mom said, crossing her arms. "This silent treatment and canceling payments? It's childish. Honestly, we're all shocked." Shocked. I raised an eyebrow. "You're shocked that I stopped paying for everything?" Ethan leaned forward, clearly annoyed. "Yeah, seriously? Wi-Fi's off. Netflix won't load. My gym app says I'm suspended. Did you cancel all of it on purpose?" "On purpose." I smiled, but it wasn't a nice smile. "Yes, Ethan, that was the idea." Lauren snorted. "Ugh, are you still on about that baby shower? It was just a party, get over it." I stood up slowly, one hand resting on my belly. "You're right, it wasn't about the party. It's about the fact that I'm 34 weeks pregnant, and not one of you thought it was worth showing up for me. Not one of you even RSVP'd. Mom raised her hand like she was some judge silencing the room. "We didn't mean anything by it. We just thought baby showers are for first-time moms." "This is my first baby." I shot back, my voice sharp. "And you all knew that, but no one said a word." "You didn't forget," I continued. "You made a choice. You showed up for Anna's shower last weekend with balloons, a buffet, matching outfits, and completely ignored mine." Then, 2 days later, Lauren sends me a Venmo request for $180 and Ethan is asking me to fix Mom's phone bill. Lauren rolled her eyes. "Oh, please, don't act like a victim. You've always been the generous one, what? Now you want a cookie for helping out." That was it, I laughed, but it wasn't a nice laugh. It was the kind that comes out when you've snapped and can't piece things back together. Okay, let's talk about that generosity. Let's talk about how I paid your rent for 11 months straight, Lauren, how I covered Sophie's dance classes, school supplies, and summer camp, while you were posting your $60 gel nails and bottomless brunches on Instagram. Lauren's face turned red, but she stayed silent. And Ethan, I turned to him. I paid for your phone, your gym membership, your Spotify, Uber credits, and more. You once texted me, "Yo, rent's due, handle it," like I was your assistant, not your sister. Mom jumped in, her voice rising. You're making this a bigger deal than it is. We're your family. We thought we could trust you. No, I said flatly. You thought you could use me, and you did for years. Ethan scoffed. Man, what do you even want? A standing ovation? You made your money, you helped out, big deal. That doesn't make you better than us. I leaned in. No, Ethan, it makes me tired. It makes me done. Because I've bent over backward for this family, and the first time I needed something, just one small act of kindness, none of you could even pretend to care. Lauren stood up, hands on her hips. Ugh, you're so dramatic. Do you want us to cry now? Throw you a pity party? Grow up. And then, unexpectedly, someone else spoke up. From the corner of the room, my cousin Rachel, who had been silent this whole time, stood up. I was on your side, she said, her voice shaking a little. But this is disgusting. You all treat her like an ATM and then act like she's the problem when she sets a boundary. Everyone turned to her, stunned. Rachel, don't get involved, Mom snapped. No, Rachel said firmly. I am involved because I see how you've treated her. And just like that, Rachel made her decision. She grabbed her purse and walked out without another word. The room went silent, like the calm after a storm. Mom, though, didn't let the moment sit. She turned back to me, her face a mixture of guilt and anger. Think about your baby, she said, her tone sharp. She needs a family. Are you really going to raise her on your own? Without us? I didn't hesitate. I looked her straight in the eye and replied, better alone than surrounded by people who only love me when I'm useful. The door closed behind them with a soft click, but it felt heavier than any slam. No shouting, no angry words. Just the quiet, final end of it all. That night, I stood alone in the kitchen, the dim light casting soft shadows around the room. My hands cradled a warm cup of tea, and my baby gave a gentle nudge beneath my ribs. For the first time in what felt like years, I breathed without the weight of guilt on my chest. I hadn't done anything wrong. I wasn't selfish. I had simply had enough. The next few days passed in a strange kind of silence. My phone remained quiet, no texts, no calls. The family group chat was still missing me, like I'd never existed. Ethan, not one to miss an opportunity to air his grievances, posted a passive-aggressive story on Instagram. When people turn their back on blood, don't be surprised when they drown alone. Lauren followed it up with her own reshare, 3 broken heart emojis adorning the post. I didn't react. Let them have their drama. They weren't getting any of mine. By day 3, the guilt phase kicked in. Mom sent a text, "Can we please talk?" I didn't reply. She sent another, explaining they hadn't realized how hurt I was, but assuring me that cutting them off wasn't the answer. I stayed silent. The 3rd message came more urgent. The bills are stacking up. Your sister can't afford Sophie's school trip. Ethan might lose his gym membership. I could feel the pressure they were putting on me, but I didn't respond. Let them feel the consequences of their actions. Day 5. Panic mode had set in. Lauren called me 5 times in an hour. When I didn't pick up, she left a voicemail. Her voice was shaky, full of rage, not regret. You've made your point, okay? Are you happy now? Sophie's devastated. Mom's crying every night. Ethan is snapping at everyone. You've broken the family. All because of some stupid party. I listened and then deleted it. No words, no response. That evening, something unexpected happened. A message from Rachel. Just wanted you to know I moved out of my parents' place. I realized how toxic this all was after what I saw at your place. Thank you for standing up. You helped me see clearly. I stared at my phone, my throat tight. One by one, they were falling apart, and for the first time, I felt like I was starting to come together. Day 7, another surprise. Brian, Lauren's ex, Sophie's dad, showed up at my door with a box of baby clothes. I hadn't heard from him in months, but there he was, holding a simple box. I heard, he said. Sophie told me everything. She's not okay. You were the only one who truly cared about her future. So, these are from me and from Sophie. She picked the onesies. I bit my lip, trying to keep the tears at bay. Thank you, I whispered. He looked at me, his eyes soft, and added something I wasn't expecting. If you ever need anything, really, I'm here. Lauren's not doing well. She lost her job last week, blames HR, but I think deep down, she knows it's her fault. I said nothing. I didn't feel any joy or satisfaction. I just felt a quiet release. The consequences of their actions were finally catching up with them, and I didn't have to do a thing. 2 weeks later, Mom called again. I let the phone ring, then the voicemail came. Your brother's behind on rent. Lauren's car got towed. We can't get Sophie into her dance recital. I don't know what to do anymore. There was a pause. Please, just tell me what we did so wrong. Why are you doing this to us? I listened to her message, then played it again and deleted it. I wasn't doing anything to them. They were doing it to themselves. Later that week, a card arrived, no return address, inside, Sophie's handwriting. I miss you. Mom says you're mad forever, but I remember the pancakes and how you came to my school play. I hope the baby is nice, love, Sophie. I sat on the floor, holding the card to my chest, and cried harder than I had in months, not because I regretted my choice, but because Sophie was the only one who hadn't been part of all the mess. She was innocent. And then, the final blow, 3 weeks after everything went down, I got a message from Lauren's number. Her tone was different, quiet, almost broken. I messed up, I ruined everything, and you were the only one who ever really helped. I know I said things I can't take back, but I'm sorry. For the first time, there was no manipulation, no guilt, just raw honesty, but it was too late. I didn't reply because I finally understood. Forgiveness is something you give when the wound has healed, and mine was still bleeding. In the weeks that followed, life began to feel lighter. Diapers, onesies, a new baby monitor. It wasn't from family, it was from friends who showed up for me in ways my family never did. Zoe threw me a small shower with just 6 people, and it was perfect. No fake smiles, no judgments, just people who truly cared. And me? For the first time in a long while, I felt human again. Not an ATM, not a safety net, not the invisible daughter, just me, soon-to-be mother, whole. 8 weeks have passed since I walked out of my family's life. Well, more accurately, since I walked out of the role they assigned me. The one where I was the bank, the savior, the emotional punching bag, and here's the kicker. No one expected this, but I'm not falling apart. I'm thriving. Now, when I wake up, there's no weight on my chest. There are no buzzing phones filled with guilt-driven texts. No endless mental checklists of who needs what paid or covered. No quiet panic over diapers or overdue Wi-Fi bills. It's just me, my growing baby bump, and a peacefulness I never thought I'd experience. It feels strange, honestly, to finally live in silence after years of obligation. For a while, I kept waiting for that wave of guilt. You know, the one that whispers, maybe you were too harsh, maybe you could have handled it better. But it never came. Because the truth is, I handled it exactly how I had to. I spoke the truth, I drew a line in the sand, and I watched as they proved why that line had to exist. Lauren still tries. Every now and then, she'll send a vague text like, "Hope you're okay," or "Sophie misses you." But I don't reply. It's not about punishing her. I don't block her or engage. I simply don't respond. And I've learned something they never wanted me to figure out. Silence is a response. It's power. Boundaries aren't cruelty. They're survival. Ethan? He's gone into full victim mode online last week. He posted a thread about fake families and how money changes people. It got 2 likes, one from Lauren, one from Mom. I didn't laugh. I felt sorry for him because without me, he has to face himself, and that's the scariest mirror anyone can look into. Mom stopped calling altogether. She finally understood I wasn't coming back. Not to their group chat, not to their table, not to the unspoken contract that I owed them something for just being born. It's funny, really, they raised me to believe I was the selfish one, but when the money stopped flowing, so did their love. Makes you think. I'm building my own family now. Zoe, my best friend, visits twice a week to help me prep the nursery. Rachel, yes, Rachel, texts me daily to check in. She sends baby name ideas, memes, and reminds me to drink water. Brian brought over Sophie's favorite stuffed animal just in case the baby likes it too. He told me it was Sophie's idea. I believe him. And me? I'm still me, but I'm more whole, more honest, more mine. The other night, I stood in the nursery. The crib was set up. The mobile spun slowly above it. Soft clouds and sleepy moons swaying gently. The light was warm, golden, and for the first time in my entire life, I felt something wild. I felt safe, not because someone promised to protect me or because I had backup, but because I had myself. I've walked through fire, been called too much, too cold, too selfish. I've been used, my guilt wiped away, and I survived. Better yet, I stopped apologizing for it. If my daughter ever asks about my family, I'll tell her the truth. Blood isn't always love. Kindness without boundaries is self-destruction. Being the strong one doesn't mean being the sacrificial lamb. And I'll tell her this too. You are never required to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You aren't responsible for making others comfortable at your expense. You can say no, even to those who raised you. I'll raise her with a spine and a heart. Compassionate, but not compliant, warm, but not in servitude. Because if there's one thing I want her to learn, it's this. Never be afraid to choose yourself, even if it means standing alone. I used to think walking away would make me the villain, that they'd spin stories about how I abandoned them, and maybe they have let them. Because if choosing peace, protecting my child, and breaking generational patterns makes me the villain in their story, then maybe I was never meant to be the hero.